If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are certain tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership required. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So go now, download the Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm today to get started. Welcome to the Pharaoh's Realm podcast. I'm your host, BlackPharoah. And on today's show, I have a super duper special guest. I first encountered my guest as she was moderating in another person's stream. And when I say that my guest has one of the most unique voices that you have ever heard, I made the comment. I made the comment in that stream. I said, "Man, it was her and another mod. I said, man, your mods got voices that would make you change your religion. Holy smokes, their voices were so unique and so just mind blowing." And she's the host of her own podcast, the Cubana Chronicles. She's a huge content creator out in this world that a lot of you need to, check out her streams, check out her podcast. I want to introduce to you guys a very, very good friend and ally of the Pharaoh's Realm podcast, NYCubana. Thank you for joining me today, Mama. How you doing?
I am doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited and so honored for this opportunity just to be in the Pharaoh's realm.
and I thank and I thank you, and just wanted you the audience to know, over the next 6 weeks I'm doing a women in content creation series, and my guest right here, Cubana, is the first. And I wanted it, and it just worked out the way for her to be first because a lot of the common grounds that we walk in. um Actually, as we are recording this podcast, it was announced earlier today that there was a guilty verdict in the George Floyd murder trial. I don't try to say that officer's name too often because I don't want his name to ring out. But Kumana, let me know from your perspective, how did that feel, knowing that justice was served in that trial?
I was watching it live with both of my daughters. My daughters are biracial, as you know, as
Hmm.
most people should know. Um, and I have grandchildren, and I have a grandson specifically. Watching this has been the culmination of a almost a year long nail biter. You know, we all knew what the outcome should be, but we none of us had faith that this was what it was going to be. They were scared. They were scared. They armed themselves to the hilt because they knew that if the wrong verdict, the not guilty verdict came out, there was going to be hell to pay.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that this, you know, now someone else that I spoke to made a point of they said, I'm not gonna be happy until we get the sentencing, and that's true.
Right.
But you know, you have to start with one step. And this was at least one crack in the blue armor.
Yes.
So I was very, very, very grateful to see it and be a part of it.
Yes. And me being a black man, haven't had my interactions with the police up in New York, it was very satisfying to see. One of the things that I teach, I have two sons. One about to enter his 20s, the one other one in his early 20s, and I tell them all the time, when you get stopped, comply. And George Floyd, complied, and unfortunately this will happen, but I tell people all the time, tell your kids to comply, deal with the nonsense later. Unfortunately, the other young man lost his life, worried about a warrant that, I tell, and I tell people, had he gotten away with his life, he would have added more charges to what he was already charged with. It's unfortunate that he lost that life, lost his life. But I just tell people all the time, teach your kids to comply. Tell them to keep their mouth shut till they get to an attorney. Comply. If anything is wrong during the process, you can go back and sue later, and that actually helped you towards your innocent. But as Wallow267 always says, if you did the crime, you got to be built to do the time. And if you're guilty, don't think that these cops, it's a different time with the internet and social media. These cops, they are finding people at record rates because these
Mhm.
people are putting their business out on social media. So they say, "Oh, I
Absolutely.
see him TikToking in front of the McDonald's over there. We're gonna go over there and catch him." And I like I said, I was happy to see that verdict. I was very pleased. But if I can give a message to all the people out there, everybody's have their own interactions with the police. I get it. I totally understand. But the first thing I'm telling you, to teach your kids is just keep their mouth shut and comply. Deal with everything after, because at least in that situation, when you comply and you quiet and you don't struggle, you're leaving there with potentially with your life. So,
Know your rights and responsibilities.
right.
Mm, Avail yourself of knowing exactly what is allowed for them to do,
Mm-hmm.
what is expected for you to do,
Correct.
but most importantly, just know when it becomes them breaking the law as opposed to you being detained or questioned.
Yep.
Now let me just make this clear. I am all for one for protesting everything,
Mhm.
everything. I am not one of those compliant, just, oh, I'm just gonna just do it because you said so.
Right.
But I don't want my grandson out there taunting the beast. He's already got a target on him.
Mhm.
I don't need him to have any more bullseyes on his back,
Right.
So yep, just know your rights, everyone.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, no, you're right. And the first right that they tell you is you have the right to remain silent. That's the
Mhm.
first thing. There's a reason why they say that first, for a reason, you know, exercise and know your rights. Please, people, teach your children their rights and make sure that they fully understand their rights. So these interactions don't keep going sideways. So
Absolutely.
thank you, for sharing your thoughts on the verdict. So I want to go ahead and talk about your content creation, but this is a question I always ask all my guests. What is the first game that got you into just gaming? Period. Like, what was your first love as far as like, oh man, I really like this gaming thing. Like, what was the first game that really got you into gaming?
I remember as a child playing on the Atari. I remember playing Pong. I think the name of the other one was Berserker.
Berserker, yeah,
Oh man,
Berserker.
yep. And then, just over the years, I was fascinated with computers, just fascinated. And when I was in high school, good lord, back in the '90s, way back when,
Me too.
um, I would go on my free time and go into the computer lab and just pop in a floppy disk. Google that. Um,
All the
pop in a
youngins got in Google
right,
floppy
right.
disk, floppy disk, right?
I would pop in the floppy disk and play Jeopardy, play Wheel of Fortune,
Wow.
and and it wasn't so much the game that fascinated me. It was just the movement of the images on the screen
Mhm.
and what it took to create those. And
Right.
just, I remember playing. My brother, who's 20 some odd years older than I, was married with children.
Mhm.
He purchased the Nintendo system when it first came out, and I remember playing Duck Hunt for
Mhm.
hours and hours and hours and hours, and it just over the years, it just going from one system to the next, the next, the next, not realizing that I was a gamer, air quotes, all day, until I met Mixer, and I
Mhm.
was like, gamer. I'm a gamer. This is a thing. I guess so. But yeah, Atari was my first passion when I was a kid.
Wow, wow. Like, yeah, that's I mean, we're in the same age range, and like I said, Atari was my first system too. So, oh, These kids, first of
Yeah.
all, these kids will never understand the struggle of 8-bit gaming.
Yes.
Now everything is, I gotta have 120 frames per second and all this clarity. I'm like,
You're
you
right.
guys will
They will
never know the
never,
struggle.
nope, they will never understand what it's like to, oh my God, I'm about to die. Reset. Never. Or the joystick, having the joystick just like forcing it almost off of the base because it's, oh my God, I just got to get over there. I just got to get over there.
Never, no, no, they won't
Mm-mm,
know. Um,
absolutely.
so as I stated in my opening, I met you, as a mod for another channel. What has been the biggest difference from going from being the moderator, the person kind of behind the scenes, to now being the person that's actually producing the content? What has been, your biggest transition, going from mod to streamer?
Freedom. Freedom. Um, when I was modding, I was the type of mod that I treated it like a business.
Mhm.
Um, I'm helping you with your business. And my job is to be that assistant that if I, okay, so I would learn how to read the streamer's body, his eyes, his body language, what he would say, and I would use those as cues as to what I'm going to put in the chat.
Okay.
I would purposely time um, um, responses like for whatever they were hawking, like gamers, whatever this, that, fuel, this, or
Hmm.
whatever they were selling, whatever sponsor they were advertising. I would listen to keywords and I would throw that in there.
Mm.
You know, I would read the body language or I would read what's happening on the screen and I would put in appropriate responses. Like, for example, when somebody was playing Apex and they were really into the game. So I would throw up a message, hey guys, so and so is really into the game right now. So they may not be able to talk in chat. Just give them a minute to catch up.
Right, right.
You know, if I saw that in another stream, if I saw that the chat wasn't moving or that the streamer was having technical difficulties or was getting pulled away or whatever the case was, I would start a random game of weird questions like, would you rather eat your finger or chop off your toe?
I remember
Just
those. I actually
just
remember those questions. Oh,
yes, and it would keep everyone engaged and just in a good place. So it's a lot more freeing to not have to do that because what people didn't see is I actually had a Word document with all of my responses
hmm,
already in order of importance and frequency already already set up. So I would just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Um,
wow.
or if, for example, it was a specific celebration, someone's birthday, or
Mhm.
breast cancer awareness, domestic abuse, whatever awareness, I would have a pre-printed message for that, and then I would just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it was a full time job, so it's a
Wow.
lot more freeing to
Yeah.
not have to do that.
Right, right. But to all anybody that's listening, that's modding in other people's channels, you just got what I call $1,000 worth of game right there. I mean, how I mod and I help some of my friends out as mods, just typing a couple of commands, but to listen to the level of detail that you put into this, I mean, I'm a firm believer that your stream is as strong as your community, and when you have mods that have that same vision and what you just described, like I said, I'm actually gonna. There's actually some streamers I'm actually gonna send. I'm gonna make sure when I clip this, I'm gonna send it to them to say your mods need to get on board with this because who like who does that? Like you, I mean, this the level these are talking about from the body language, knowing the situation, but then to have the know all of let me get my common responses, almost like like you wrote commands, but you just had them in Word and just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Like
Right. Until the person was like, you know, how do you get those in there so fast? I'm like, oh, let me show you.
yeah,
So I sent it to them and then they actually made it channel commands, which made it easier.
right.
But sometimes there were things that were a little bit more detailed,
Hmm.
and so those I would still have on a copy paste basis. Um, but I would also make sure that, for example, if they had a steady schedule, like, listen, okay, you go online at 11, so that means by 10:30 I
Hmm.
have all of my personal things done. No one is allowed in my room. Don't bother me, like this is because we I need to make sure that I am clear and present for this.
Yes.
Of course you get called away for personal things,
Right.
for whatever the thing is, but you always make sure, or I used to always make sure to let the streamer know. I would whisper, say, hey, I have to go do this and
Hmm.
I'll be back.
Right.
So they don't call out for you and you're not there, because I think that looks terrible when you're streaming
Hmm.
and you're calling out to your mods and no one is answering you. If I hired you, you'd all be fired.
Yeah, no, and I've heard, and I think everybody, listening would agree that they've heard the same thing. Somebody's like, hey, if there's any mods in here, can you do this? And it's like,
Right.
the fact that you're asking if there's any mods in there when, like you said, if you're professional in your broadcast and you have a set schedule, you should have at least one or two mods that, hey, if this person can't make it, maybe this person, can make it. And wow, like I said, that's $1,000 worth of game right there, man. For you streamers that want to get your stream right, also $1,000 worth of game. Holy smokes!
That's just the way it was. And you have to know who your streamer is. If he or she is a person that is, has a larger following
Hmm.
and has a lot going in chat, you keep your eyes open on that chat. That means generally you have to have one ear on the stream and your eyes in chat, because you have to look for people who are potentially a problem, almost like a bouncer at a club.
Yeah.
People who are potentially a problem, who are potentially a troll. You look and see at some of the names, because sometimes people put in ridiculous names just to have them called out.
Right.
Those people get automatically a buy.
They get the band hammer. That's right.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was freedom from all of that. It's just being able to just play. And I actually have some mods now
Hmm.
that are, there's one in particular that he's very in tune with me. Um, and I don't really have to tell him anything. It's just on it. Not like there's like a thousand million things that happen in my stream,
Right.
because I have a very chill, relaxed group of people.
Yes.
Um, but in the off chance that things do happen, he's he's just on it.
Oh, that's great. And that's great that that you guys, not being in person can still have that understanding of the flow. And again, we'll have your links in the description. But again, guys, when you get a chance to stop by her stream, first of all, the music just puts you in the vibe because she has all the classic music playing in the background and you're just sitting there. Her music is like I don't watch streams out here, down in Florida. But when I get my house and I got my pool, I'm gonna have that stream right up. You ain't even gotta watch her play. You can just hear it just between her voice, what how calming her voice is, as you can hear right now. And now imagine putting some music behind that. You're just gonna be in straight relax mode. So, oh man.
Well, that's the purpose of my stream. Is I like to. I've always wanted to have my own space where people can feel comfortable,
Hmm.
they can feel relaxed. Like you say, you don't have to watch. Please don't watch the gaming, because I'm terrible at everything. But the whole ambiance is supposed to just put you in a nice zone. Twitch is very strong with their um, restrictions as far as music is concerned.
Hmm.
But I do have the music when I can, and when it's appropriate. So it just creates like a good environment where, like you say, you can literally just sit back, do whatever, go clean the house, go do whatever, and it's just a zen mode.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I do get that feeling and that vibe every time. I've had the opportunity to stop in. I know, our schedules kind of, with your schedule changes and then my schedule changes. But like I said, I was glad I was able to come in, last week and catch you, and here we are today, just from me just
Mhm.
I was up late, I was working on and I was working on some content creation of my own, and I saw you on, and like I said, I just between your voice and the music, I was like, man, like I ain't even have to put my Spotify or nothing on. You took care of everything.
Awesome. I'm very glad that I could do that for you.
Oh, it's so appreciated. So what are some of the challenges that you've had to, maybe one or two challenges that you've had to overcome towards, gaining your freedom as a content creator?
Um, just establishing myself independently. When I first started streaming, I was around a group of people, and at first, I was very good friends with someone, and that relationship went sour. That friendship went sour after a while, and caused a lot of havoc.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was I didn't, it was we were developing a reputation, and it wasn't good, and I didn't like it.
Right.
Um, and when myself and this individual stopped becoming friends, stopped being friendly with each other, separated our streams. And a lot of people went one way or another.
Hmm.
And it took me a while to kind of break away from that. But when I did, I kind of found who I wanted to be in the
Right.
streaming community. And like I said, that's where this whole peaceful place developed. Um, the challenge was building that
Yeah.
and building that on my own, not really relying on someone else to bring the noise, so to speak. I had to make my own noise and make it very peacefully, but make my own noise. Also, no camera. That has always been something that everyone always tells me, man, you should have a camera on because do you know how many followers girls get or women get? Because, well, first of all, I don't have a camera on for my own reason.
Right.
And secondly, I never want to be the type of streamer that gets a following based on what I'm showing you. I want you to enjoy my space based on the quality of what is there, not on what I'm wearing, not on what I'm showing or not showing, not on, what my face looks like, what my
Amen.
body looks like, none of that. No disrespect intended to the women that enhance what they have in order to boost their communities. That's just not for me and
Right.
not my cup of tea. I'd rather have a great intellectual conversation, discussion, debate with people in my stream and engage you that way than to just, have the camera over my head and, the rest is interesting.
No, no, I mean, you hit it on the head, and I I try. I just personally don't like supporting people. The women who, you know, the bathtub streams or the
Mhm.
boobs out, and it's like, you're more than that. You are more than that. And then I see them on social media and they get mad because a guy said something inappropriate to them in their stream, and I'm like,
Right.
what did you expect? Like you're gonna get when you put out that energy that you feel, and you sitting there and you perking up your boobs and stuff. What energy
Mhm.
you think is gonna come back to you? And it's
Absolutely.
sad that a lot of women think that they have to do that, and that's really not the way. But you have if you want to do that, go to OnlyFans. Go to OnlyFans. And
Yes.
OnlyFans is for that. That's what that platform is for. But not not when you got you don't even think about the kids that are potentially watching. Like there's just so much that they don't think about, and I be like, sister, like you don't have to do that. Like it's not necessary.
Right.
Put it on your TikTok
Unfortunately,
or whatever, that's different. But when you're here and you're handling your business, don't sit there and whine when some, dirtbag comes in your stream and he's saying, "Show me your boobies and show me this and show me
right.
that." And it's probably a little kid. Let's be real.
90% of the time,
Yeah,
yes.
it's probably a little kid, but don't be mad when they come in and say that because that's the energy that you're putting out.
Now, on the flip side of that, If people don't patronize that, there'll be no channel that can exist.
True.
So it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I can't complain that Call of Duty sucks while I'm playing Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Which we
Everybody
all
does
do
it.
that. We all do that, including yours truly.
Yes.
But we can't say, "Oh my gosh, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it," and then go and patronize these people,
Correct.
even just to sit in their stream. You don't have to talk, but just sitting in their stream still lends support
Mhm.
to that visual. So if you don't like it, don't support it.
Correct.
Don't watch it. Don't lurk and watch it. Don't pretend lurk and watch it. Y'all freaky deeks out there, you know. But just don't support it. Let your voice be known, your opinion be known. Sometimes doesn't require having it be known.
Right.
Just don't watch it.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Let me transition into this. What is so, now you're at, the point where you're, you got your content creation going now. What is some of the best advice that you've received, you know, as you again transitioned into that streamer content creator role? What is some of the best advice you've received from anybody?
Be yourself, whatever yourself is, and don't play games based on what's most popular or what you think people will respond the most to. People will respond to you when you're having a good time. When
Right.
you're having a good time, people will have a good time. So if I'm playing, oh God, Fortnite,
I just started recently playing that myself, so
I'm so sorry. Um, so if I'm playing Fortnite and I'm not enjoying that, that's going to come across.
right.
As much as I can put on a brave face and make jokes and all that, that displeasure is going to come across. So if I'm having a good time, you're having a good time, and we're gonna have a good time together.
Right.
So yeah, that's probably the best thing that they ever told me. Just be exactly who you are. Whoever you are is, be that, and be true with your games, what you enjoy.
Right. And you played, like I said, you was playing a game the other day. It was like a mashup between Escape from Tarkov and Sea of Thieves. Because I'm like, well, what is this screen I'm looking at? Then all of a sudden you was you was on a ship and the ship was being shot at with cannons. And it's a game, like you said, that it wasn't a popular game with the masses, but it was a game that you were comfortable with playing, and you wasn't bad at it. I'll say that you wasn't bad at it, and I was intrigued because I was like, "Well, what game is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to check this game out."
That was actually Atlas, and
Atlas, okay.
yeah, it's still in preview, and it's been in preview for like a couple of years, but they're by the same people who made Ark, so it's probably going to be in preview for 5 more years. But yeah, but I had gone back to it. Is the company that I am in, stopped playing, so I stopped really going to it. Um, and when you saw me, I was so upset because I had literally spent hours
hmm
going from one part of the zone to the other zone just to try to find some salt. Didn't find any salt. Found a bear, got the bear, was making my way back home, and I got attacked by the ships that you saw. They're called the ships of the damned,
Right.
and they're ghost ships and very accurate. And I did not have a any cannons or any kind of a ship built that can respond to them. So they wiped the whole floor with me. And they were so good that they didn't just take out my ship. No, no, no. They took out my sails so I
Wow.
couldn't move. Yeah,
right. Right.
yeah. But I went back and got my stuff after that, right?
of course. Of course.
But yeah, I've learned to enjoy playing weird games. Like there's a game called It Takes Two
I've
that
heard
I
of that.
play with. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Really?
I play it with, yes, Chaos Control. You've seen him in the streams with me and in the party
Yeah.
with me. Yeah. Um, he bought that game and he's like, "QB, come on, let's play this." And we played. And when I tell, there's a clip that I have somewhere on my Twitch where I laughed literally for about 5 minutes straight. One, it was just, I was broken. I was just broken. It's just so much fun because you have to literally, it's a split screen. You have to work side by side with the person,
Hmm.
and it's just great. But different games like that, I've learned to appreciate and not just do the big games like Call of Duty, Gears,
Right.
Battlefield. Um, so yeah, those little games are key. They're lots of fun. Lots of fun. People
Yeah.
should just open your mind and just try something different.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Like I said, I've heard of It Takes Two. I've seen a couple of people. I've actually seen a couple of couples who stream, play that because it's a game that they can play together. So
Yes.
I'm definitely because meanwhile we're looking for, we used to play Battleship on Xbox. What we're looking for something to play together. So I may have to check that out and get on.
It takes two.
It
It's
Takes
it's
Two.
literally about relationships. The
Okay.
the the couple's daughter is upset because the couple is getting divorced, and she gets this book about relationships, and the book, something happens where they turn into dolls.
Hmm.
And so they have this huge adventure just getting through trying to convince their daughter and to help. It's just great. It's so much fun. You guys will have a great time.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely gonna check out. Thank you for that recommendation. Can I know when she comes back in, I'm definitely gonna make mention of that to her. So so now, again, you just, content creator. Now you've expanded into the world of podcasting. Thus the title of this podcast, the Cubana Chronicles, because I want everybody listening to make sure that they go to Spotify and follow. Everybody today pretty much has a Spotify account, so make sure you hit follow and then listen to her episodes. But tell me what made you transition now, well, not transition because you're still in the streaming space, but what made you add the podcast space into your content creation world?
Well, for about a year and a half, I was in a physical therapy rehab, and there wasn't a lot of outlets there. So I became very good friends with these two ladies, and we would often sit in the hallway during lunch and just banter,
Mhm.
just literally just banter and just talk crap all day long, all the time about everything. Things that fat people talk about because we
Right.
are all fat people. So uh, we there was a gentleman there that he kind of rolled over to us one day, and he said he was a veteran, and he had a lot of PTSD, and he was older, and he was very violent and
Mm.
very angry all the time. You would often hear him screaming, throwing things, but he always respected me. He was always kind to me. And he came over and he said to me, hearing you guys talk and laugh and just talk crap with each other really makes my morning, and it gives me something to smile about. You guys should really think about doing a podcast,
Mm.
and we laughed it off. But he said it a few times, and that started to get me to thinking, like, well, why don't we do a podcast? And I talked to my friend at the time, and I found Anchor through someone else who was doing his podcast, and he introduced it to me. I
Mhm.
said, well, let's try this out, and we did, and it was successful. We had a great time, and we had several episodes that went really well, and and then I really developed a love for it.
Right.
Unfortunately, I couldn't continue with that partner because we kind of had different directions that we wanted to go in.
Hmm.
Um, so I started my own, and I really actually enjoy it quite a bit. Quite a bit. This has become my it just kind of like like you said, an addition to my streaming life, and it's brought me here, and I- I'm in great company.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I listened, the other day to and I kind of want to touch up on this next topic. I did listen to the DMX podcast, and you know,
I appreciate
he
that.
was such, a national treasure because in one way or another, everybody can relate from him, to him. You know, I can relate the fact that, we grew up in the projects and I grew up in Brooklyn, he grew up in Yonkers, his love of music, I love music. I used to DJ way back in, the day. And I was never the rapper because
Back when they used records?
well, yeah, yes, yeah. As a matter of fact, yes, I had the Technique 1200. So now
Wow.
with this easy, if DJing then was what it was, what it is now, I probably still be DJ because you ain't got to pay nobody to carry no records. All you need is a 10 terabyte hard drive full of music, and you good to
Right.
go. So, but you being from the same area as DMX, shout out to the YO. Um,
Yonkers.
Tell me, tell the audience what he meant, as a man to that community. Tell us, in your eyes what he meant to that community up in YO.
Well, here, he was our son, you know. I've lived in Yonkers for many, many, many years, and I've always been a fan of DMX from way in the beginning. I loved his style. I loved what he had to say. I watched his struggle. I watched his demons, and I watched him grow into, from not a child, but from a young adult into a man. And here, it was such a deep cut into our fabric, um, because he was still very much part of the people here,
Right.
very much a part of everything. And it was just so powerful because in this area, in Yonkers,
Mm-hmm.
the his drug of choice is a big epidemic, a big problem,
Wow.
and it's very common. And there's so much going on here with that issue that the rehabs are full, the
Wow.
detox centers are full. Um, it's just common. It is just very common. You would be when I first moved to Yonkers,
Mm-hmm.
I lived on a place called Saratoga Avenue. Saratoga Avenue is the butt of the worst of the worst.
Wow.
And I lived there when I was pregnant
Mm-hmm.
with my oldest daughter, and I was in a relationship there, and I was the only person on the entire block that didn't do a drug of
Wow.
any kind. Coming to Yonkers is where I learned what crack looks like, what cocaine looks like, what weed looks like.
Yeah.
The dealers on the block felt bad for me, and they would take me and they would show me what the baggies look like, what to look for. Is I was in the midst of all this stuff and I didn't know what was happening. So to watch this man who had so much talent be in the midst of such a deep addiction that he recognized he had,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, and just couldn't get a handle on it. And I'm not even going to get into why,
No. Yeah.
because but it hurt. And when he passed, it hurt. And then Black Rob right after that
Yeah. And
blew
then,
me away.
yeah, and because I saw, right after DMX, passed, they put up the thing on Black Rob, and everybody's like, "Oh God, like Black Rob is gonna be next," and everybody came at Diddy's throat, like, why didn't you help? Why didn't you do this? And sometimes, these artists don't want help, they don't, or
Right.
they're, to your point, their addiction may be so strong that they just can't be helped. And sometimes, staying away and not, enabling them is the best help that you can actually give them. And, I mean, I mean, if there's a message out there that I can give to these young rappers, anybody that comes across this either in 2021 or beyond, let those two men let their journey see how they struggled and the things that they battled, that these young kids now glorify drug use, like they
Hmm.
glorify it like it's super hype. My youngest son battles with, and he's not even a fully grown man, he's battling, because he thinks it's cool to smoke marijuana. And I'm not calling you out, son, I'm just saying, like, there's a time and place for all of that. And, I mean, I know marijuana is getting a little bit more legalized, but I just wanted him to understand that's typically a gateway to something else, because you're now
Hmm.
you're chasing that next high. Oh, well, if this does this, I wonder what this does. And that's why, with these young kids out here popping these pills and mixing these drugs, the human body ain't meant to handle all of that. So, hopefully
Right.
these two, superstars can be a lesson to these young kids. There's a lot of lessons, to be learned. And I was that young kid when my pops used to say stuff to me. And let me just share a brief story with you. I remember I was about 19, 20 years old. My dad, came up to me. As a matter of fact, my daughter was already born, and my oldest son was my ex-wife at the time was pregnant with him. He was like, "You should have a closet full of dress shirts and this and that and this." I'm like, because I had a closet full of jeans and sneakers. I'm like, dude, I ain't trying to hear that, man. Come on, dude, where am I going? Where am I going other than the court? And I'm saying it being funny because I didn't get in trouble like that. But where am I going other than the court? And I'm going to need a dress shirt. I was in the work I was doing. I worked for Brooklyn Union Gas at the time, so I was wearing a uniform. I'm like, dude, I don't need all that stuff. And
Mm.
fast forward about 10 years later, right after my dad had passed, and I looked at my closet, I said, damn, if I don't have a closet full of dress shirts and shoes and you
You
know,
know what's ironic is we're having this conversation on 420.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I know if you're for, hey, listen, I tell people all the time, I don't knock it. My mom was 420 friendly for my entire life while she was alive. And I don't knock it because it's not a violent drug, meaning you're not going out there, you don't see nobody out there selling, their kids clothes or their family TV or stealing money to buy pot. So, in some
Um,
ways I'm I'm glad they legalized it only because it reduced a lot of the petty crimes that these kids were going to
yes.
jail for marijuana possession, less than an ounce, intent to sell. Dude, I'm probably gonna smoke this pound of weed when I get home. Like,
Hmm.
so I was actually in that instance glad that there's a lot of states are legalizing it because now you're freeing up the jail cells and they're starting to let a lot of those, guys for marijuana possession, they're starting to let them out of the jails early because there was really no needs for that particular drug. There was really, wasn't crack. And I know a lot of these kids today don't understand, if you actually, I tell these young kids, watch Snowfall and watch when, and I don't know if do you watch Snowfall?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't. I barely watch anything.
Okay, if you get a chance, it's a very good series on FX. John Singleton actually started it, and then kept going after he passed. But it talked about the crack epidemic in LA and how the
Mm.
CIA was the one providing the crack into the neighborhoods and stuff like that. But there's a scene that you guys need to see when Franklin's neighbor, and I'm trying not to make it a spoiler, but when she got hooked on it, just from the first time she hit it, and that's the difference you see there with with old school crackheads and the kids smoking the marijuana now. But my only issue now is the kids going into the pills and mixing the pills, the Percocet and the alcohol, like things your
Hmm.
doctor tells you don't mix. You don't mix this with alcohol. You don't mix any drug with alcohol. But then you're sitting there, and unfortunately I blame Little Wayne for that,
Yeah.
and I know it's a heavy burden to place on him, but was drinking that scissor
Scissor.
and the lean, and you sitting there and you stumbling through, and I also say Lil Wayne started mumble rap because he was so high on that lean, you couldn't very really hear, you know. So to me personally, that's just my personal opinion. Lil Wayne ruined hip hop with the mumble rap, but like I was just saying, these kids don't
I agree.
understand that, a life of this is cool to party, but when that stuff starts to take over you, it takes a whole nother, a beast and a whole nother animal, and it only affects your family in the end.
It's just an escape culture.
Right.
We, there is an increasing need to, air quotes again,
Mhm.
escape from reality, from pain, from, instead of pushing through it head on, we have to escape. Whereas we used to escape with video games or art or, you know, sports or whatever, you know, now it's I'm going to escape with heroin. I'm
Right.
going to escape with meth. I'm going to escape with shrooms or acid. Like, bro, You want to escape, but you want to come back sometime,
Yeah.
you know? It's dangerous, and I'm not a big weed supporter because I just don't like it.
Hmm.
But it is, of all of the things that people could be doing, it is the most innocuous drug that I've seen so far.
Right. It's
Um,
the lesser of all evils, because I mean, tobacco. And I don't. I think I've only smoked 3 cigarettes in my entire life. I can honestly say that. One time I was a kid. The next 2 times I think I was in my early 20s, and I can't even explain why I did it. But if you live in New York and you still smoking, and I'm not knocking you, but if you're paying $15 a pack, or I don't know what, I don't know what cigarettes.
Listen, you better go to the bootleg guy like I used to go to and get them for $8.
Listen, and that's about what they cost down here in Florida. I think they're about between I think five and like $8, something like
Oh
that. But if
my
you're spending
God,
$15,
$5? Oh
yeah, they
my
did. Oh no, they have the Indian
God.
cigarettes down here that are pretty cheap, and people buy them up like crazy. They're a little cheaper than I don't know. I'll tell you. I'll find out offline, and I'll let you know. What maybe like a pack of Newports cost. My grandmother used to smoke Cool's Kings, and they were
Oh
two
my
dollars and
God.
19 cents. That I remember that because go get me a pack of cigarettes, and they would sell it to me knowing that it was for my I wasn't the one smoking it. Even though thankfully now they card these kids, to keep them out of that habit. But
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I think I smoked 3 cigarettes in my life, and I was just like, and then like I said, when I saw what people were paying for a pack of cigarettes, I'm like, there's 101 other things you could be doing with that
Yeah.
money, especially people smoking 2 or 3 packs a day. Woo.
I used to
Oh,
smoke Newport Hundreds. I smoked Newport Hundreds for about 3 or 4 years, and then I had vertigo really bad.
okay.
And one day I smoked my cigarette, and as soon as I put it out, I had the mother of all vertigo attacks, and that was the last cigarette I ever had.
Well, applause to you for kicking that habit, because like I said, that's the next. It's really a drug, and when I found out some of the stuff just from watching documentaries of what they put in cigarettes, I was like, oh my
Mhm.
god, like,
Right.
whew, it's
Like, you might as well pick up a piece of concrete and smoke it.
yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, so this next segment is brought to you by Diamond the Doula. If you are looking for a more holistic way for natural healing, go to diamondthedoula.com. I was recently, a couple of months ago, diagnosed with a bad back. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, let me send you some oils for your back." I said, "Do they smell bad?" She said, "No, no, no, no. They smell good." She said, "Trust me, trust me." So, because I got tired of wearing the Tiger Balm and stuff like that that had you smelling like a
Mhm.
hospital the whole time. So she sent me some oils. She sent me an oil actually, and I rub it on my back. Once a day. Doesn't smell, doesn't do anything. When I say, it's allowed me to sit here to now bring you my eighth podcast. Oh, that oil is so amazing.
Awesome.
Now she doesn't deal in CBD oil. She's very natural and holistic. In the oils that she provides to you. So again, make sure you go to diamondthedoula.com and check out. She's actually located up in New York, and she does pop ups. So when you go to her website, if you're in New York, family, make sure you check out one of her pop ups.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to check her out because I have, chronic back pain and I
Yeah.
have arthritis, like, everywhere.
All
So
right.
that's,
Yeah.
and I'm not a fan of CBD, so
Oh no,
I
we're
don't
gonna
want
get
to.
you a pack. No, we'll talk. We'll take it offline. We'll get you a pack. Don't worry about that. She'll hook. I'll make sure she hook you up.
Appreciate that.
All right. So I like to just. I'm just gonna ask you a couple of rapid fire questions. No right or wrong answer. Just whatever comes to
Oh,
mind. I typically have a little fun with this. So
awesome,
all
awesome.
right. So Atari or Nintendo?
Atari,
All right. Twitch or Mixer?
mixer all day.
Really? Tell. Now, now I've heard different sides of this, but tell me why Mixer. I'm curious.
I really miss Mixer. I miss the freedom I had with music. I miss the community. I miss how close knit everybody kind of was, and I miss the FTL
Yes.
100%. I
Okay.
miss the freedom of creation that I had as far as, um, you know, like the profile panels at the bottom. I
Mhm.
miss being able to do that. Um, I just miss kind of like the freedom that I had, you know. And Twitch is great, but it's such a huge ocean.
Mhm.
And for those of us that are on the smaller side of streaming,
Mhm.
you know, I feel like I'm a piece of krill in this huge ocean, you know. And who's you know, you can't possibly see a speck in the middle of the sky. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mix her 100%.
Okay. Okay. No, like I said, there's no right. I was just curious. I've heard people, say Twitch because Mixer fired them without notice and stuff like that. But just really wanted to know your argument on that. Um, Streaming or podcasting?
Ooh,
I knew it was here.
pod,
I knew I was gonna find one to get you.
yeah, I think podcasting. I think podcasting is probably where I'm gonna lay my hat in the future, probably permanently. Um, I think it's just probably a little bit more, not necessarily interactive,
Hmm.
but I get to speak more and start have other people start a dialogue somewhere because
Right.
I know that I'm going to say something that someone may not agree with or
Mm.
someone may agree with,
Right.
and at least you're going to start a dialogue about it.
No, that's and that's kind of the lane that I'm in. And but like I said, I knew that question. I knew that
Yeah,
question was
that.
gonna get you. I knew that question. All right, just a couple more. Just let me just throw in a couple of music questions.
Oh boy.
Foxy Brown or Little Kim?
Oh, that's kind of a rough one. How you want to do that though?
That's why,
You know,
hey.
okay, Little Kim from her early career,
Hmm.
not Little Kim now.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like what she's morphed herself into. Whatever she's dealing with, she's clearly dealing with on her face,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
don't like
yeah.
it. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah. I always tell the story. I had the hardcore poster, and I used to have it
Mm.
on my wall. And my grandmother was like, "Boy, take that poster down." So what I did was I put it behind my door so that every time because my
Oh,
grandmother never came in my room and closed it. She never had a need to close the door behind her. So I put it behind the door so she wouldn't see it. So
that
grandma, I
is
know you're looking at me. I know you've heard me tell the
terrible.
story.
Oh,
That poster was classic though. That poster was classic.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
Notorious B.I.G. or Tupac?
Ah, Jesus.
I know you're a music lover, so that's why I had to
I
ask this.
am a music lover, and I love both of those artists. Ah, I think I'm gonna have to say Tupac.
Tupac. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think he, although they were both incredible icons
Yes.
and had incredible messages, I think Tupac spoke to me more
Mm.
in a sense, and I was just he just I just connected with him more.
No, understood, understood. Like I said, I like to. I'm, Big all day, being from
Oh, of
Brooklyn.
course.
But I do like to, and I ask everybody that question. And like I said, this is another question I get different sides, because everybody just everybody has respect for the other person. But, like you said, Tupac just, with the music that he put out, and I've always applauded how he changed his style when he realized the impact that his music had with the Dear
Mhm.
Mamas and Brenda Had a Baby and stuff like that. Like that's
Yes.
some of the more songs that I like, that when, he was just so far ahead of his time that it was just I could just imagine. Actually, I always tell people, if Big and Tupac was live, there'd probably be no Lil Wayne, there would be no mumble rap.
Nope.
And
The
these
game would be
kids,
so different.
yeah, when these kids be like Biggie who or Tupac, like, wait, what? Like, wait a minute, how
Oh
you in
my.
this industry and you don't know who these icons are? Like, shame on. Oh no,
Mm,
no.
absolutely.
So thank you for for surviving those questions. I appreciate it.
You almost killed me.
No, we don't want to do that. So, what has been your greatest streaming, and I'm sorry, your greatest content creation achievement at this point in your journey, between the podcast or between the stream? Like, what has been your greatest achievement so far?
Hmm. I would say surviving people.
Okay.
surviving people that may surround you and don't have your best intentions
Right.
or don't have good intentions for you. Um, Surviving all of that, leaving for a year and a half, coming back, still having a community to come back to, and then Mixer shutting down,
Yeah.
and then having to kind of refine the community, and then still having my reputation intact. I value that a lot. I
Yes.
value that a lot, you know. That's probably what I'm the most proud of. Being able to break away, create myself,
Hmm.
and stay myself. And people know what
Amen.
to expect when they come to see me or come to hear me. They know what to expect. And I'm proud of that. Very proud of that.
Wow. That's awesome. And like I said, that's this even in this conversation, just learning so much about you. And like I said, you are a wonderful soul. You
I
you are
appreciate that.
beyond a wonderful person. You are a wonderful soul. Um, like I said to everybody, when you get a chance, make sure well, like I said, we'll have some links to her podcast. Listen to this one, go listen to hers. I got to catch up on a couple of more episodes. Make sure you have a chance to stop by the stream. And like I said, it's just a vibe, chill. It's like a hangout. It's like you just go in there and you just hang out. And like she said, she has no camera. She says she ain't good in these games, but she's good. Don't let her be humble and fool you. She's playing the non-traditional games, but she's good at it. So don't let her fool you. But it's just such a chill session. And like I said, her voice alone is something that you can just you know we need to get we need to get you a radio gig somehow. We got to figure that out. I'm gonna have to hit this
Oh, I
Powerball
would
and buy a
love
radio
that.
station and move the
Right?
and move the Cubana Chronicles to iHeartRadio, Spotify, whoever's listening. You guys got to give this woman right here a platform as well, because like I said, her podcast is amazing, and she keeps it when you keep it real on the podcast and genuine. I think that's what people will relate to. So let the audience know what let us know first and foremost your streaming schedule, and then let us know what days of the week and where we can find your podcast.
My podcast is usually I record it once every couple of weeks. I am on Anchor, so it's anchor.fm/NYCubana number one.
Okay.
Because if not, you'll find the old podcast, and
Okay.
that has not been updated. So, but you'll find me on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Just search for the Cubana Chronicles, exactly how it sounds, and you'll find me. You can't miss it. It's like the pink and black. You
Yeah,
can't miss it.
that was a cool logo. I like it. I like it.
Thank you. My Twitch schedule varies. I'm on at night more so than in the day. It's
Okay.
very, but I always post on my social media when I'm about to go live. It's usually on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Twitter. So you'll always know when I'm about to go live within about 5-10 minutes. And I'm pretty spontaneous. So sometimes when I have time during the day, I'll come on during the day and stay for an extended period of time. Most times my schedule has changed to evenings, late evenings.
Okay.
But that's where you'll find me.
All right. And like I said, we'll have a link in the description, to all, the ways you can keep in contact. And I do want to ask you do one last question before we wrap up. TikTok.
Mhm.
Now, I've kind of steered away from it, but is TikTok really is it 'cause- and like it goes because we're similar, we're close in age. Is TikTok really is it really that good?
um, so TikTok curates to you people. So once you start looking at stuff,
Hmm.
it'll curate like a for you page,
Okay.
and you'll start to see similar things. And they'll throw in other stuff as you go along. So it's kind of what you make it, so to speak.
Okay.
I started using. I never really was interested in TikTok because I'm 47 years old. I don't give a damn about a TikTok. But I saw I saw that some streamers had started a TikTok, and I said,
Mhm.
okay, so people are using this now. So let me try this out and see what this is like. Now my TikTok is really not it's everything because
Okay.
I started doing resin, like, casting resin molds and all this other kind of stuff, making all these little tchotchkes and whatever.
Mhm.
And so I went on there and just started seeing stuff, and I use it as a platform to just make an announcement when
Okay.
I'm going live, put it there, take that video, put it on Instagram, take that video, put it on Twitter, take
Gotcha.
that video, put it in Discord. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
you
Okay.
know, but you have a really good following because you are an amazing podcaster and you're an
Thank you.
amazing streamer also.
I
And anyone
appreciate
who
it.
doesn't check you out needs to have their fingers cut clean off. So, um, but you're awesome on all of that. So I would add TikTok because you would probably have a really good following there.
Okay.
Only thing problem that I have noticed with TikTok is there's so much spam.
Okay.
Holy Jesus. But that's why on TikTok I don't answer any messages on TikTok. I literally have over 150, 200 messages that I
Wow.
don't look at because every time that you follow someone and they follow you back, it'll send you a message that says, say hi to so and so.
Gotcha.
So, but it's another avenue for another bit of outreach, and it has the potential to reach thousands and millions of people. So,
Okay. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And in closing out the show, I have a statement that I've made time and time again across the social media, and I think Cubana is a testament to this. If you're a content creator out there, whether it's streaming, podcasting, both, or whatever it is that you do, never be afraid to bet on yourself. Always, believe in yourself and don't worry about what the other people are thinking or doing. If you know it in your heart and you in your heart tells you or you feel a certain way, always trust your gut. That's somebody, that's a family member or somebody, up in heaven that's talking to you, or even God telling you this is the way you need to go. So make sure you trust your gut. And as myself and Cubana have both shown you, we bet on ourselves, and our bets are pretty solid right now. So, but I do want to thank you again, Cubana, for joining the podcast. I truly appreciate having you.
I thank you 1,000% for inviting me. Like I said, I'm very honored. I was uber nervous. Like, I was talking about it all night to chaos. Like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And just do what you're doing, man. You're doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing thing. And just your professionalism is awesome.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
definitely raised the bar because I'm like, I told chaos. I was like, it's got like this whole setup. I literally have a laptop and a mic.
That's all
That's
you
all.
need.
I don't do nothing. I don't prep. I just plug it in and start talking.
Sometimes that's all you need, though. That's all you need. So again, appreciate you. So as we always close out the show, you could have spent your time doing anything in the world, but you spent it with me. Yo, big up Brooklyn. Rest in peace, DMX. Yo, Pharaoh's out. And Black Rob. Peace.
Absolutely.
It's Team Run, baby.
Oh, thank you.